Hey, what's going on YouTube? My name is Holden Blaze, and today we will be discussing whether or not Kaspa solves the blockchain trilemma. The blockchain trilemma was coined by Vitalik Buterin and refers to the challenge of cryptocurrency seeing mass adoption. In order to solve the blockchain trilemma, a cryptocurrency must achieve optimal levels of decentralization, security, and scalability. In the past, we've seen many cryptocurrencies try to solve the trilemma. However, it's generally thought that a blockchain can only solve two of the three aspects efficiently. Something like Bitcoin, for example, is very decentralized and secure. However, it lacks the scalability it needs to solve this trilemma. On the other hand, something like Solana focuses on scalability, however, it lacks the decentralization it needs to solve the trilemma. The reason we're talking about Kaspa today is because Kaspa is not a blockchain. Kaspa is actually the first ever BlockDAG, and it is a completely new form of crypto technology. I will show you exactly how this BlockDAG works in a couple of minutes, but first let's talk about the decentralization aspect of Kaspa. Kaspa copied Bitcoin in a lot of ways when it comes to decentralization. It's also running on a proof of work system, which is much more secure and decentralized than a proof of stake system. These proof of stake cryptocurrencies are usually focused around a founding team or a company that is guiding the cryptocurrency forward, and therefore the whole project is very centralized on these groups of people. Kaspa is not reliant on any sort of founding team, and in fact, when it launched, did not allocate any of the total supply to its founders or any pre-sale events. This means that Kaspa had a completely fair launch, and it allows for the community to really back the project. In fact, all decisions for Kaspa are made by the community. They are not made by any company behind the scenes. As a whole, I see Kaspa very similar to Bitcoin when it comes to decentralization. I think they both effectively solve this aspect of the trilemma. The only thing that makes Bitcoin a bit more decentralized is the fact that it has more total holders and more miners on the network. However, both of those things come with time. Not many people know about Kaspa yet, and so yes, the total holders are much lower than the total holders of Bitcoin. I don't see that as an inherent flaw in their decentralization. I just recognize that it is a newer project than Bitcoin, and I truly believe the number of Kaspa holders will skyrocket this coming bull cycle. Moving on to the security issue of the trilemma, Kaspa also copied Bitcoin in a lot of ways here. They're also using the Nakamoto consensus model, which is the oldest, most secure protocol in cryptocurrency. It's also known as the longest chain rule, and Kaspa actually solves the issue of orphaned blocks. There are no blocks that are wasted in a BlockDAG, and therefore the BlockDAG is more energy efficient and also more secure. Compared to proof-of-stake cryptocurrencies, Kaspa also wins again. Proof-of-stake cryptocurrencies are much more prone to a 51% attack, and again, you are reliant on that founding team, which makes the project less secure, as it is much easier for a bad actor inside the founding team to ruin the project. As a whole, I think Kaspa is as secure as Bitcoin. I think they both solve this aspect of the trilemma. The only thing is Bitcoin has been around longer, and so it has a better track record just because it's been around for many more years than Kaspa. However, again, I don't think that's something we can poke faults at Kaspa for. That comes with time and adoption as more people find out about the project. I personally think that Kaspa so far solves the decentralization aspect of the trilemma along with the security measures as well. Moving on to scalability, this is where Kaspa really differentiates itself from Bitcoin. This is due to their BlockDAG technology, which they keep innovating on. They currently have testnets running for this DAGNITE protocol, and it is believed once the Rust update is completed that Kaspa can be closer to 100 blocks a second. Right now it's operating anywhere from 1 to 5 blocks per second. However, it is achieving 10 blocks a second on one of its testnets and has been seeing great progress. Now, DAGNITE running on Rust will truly be revolutionary for Kaspa. However, I'm not going to get super nerdy into this video because I truly believe it's much easier to understand a BlockDAG when looking at it visually. This right here is the live BlockDAG of Kaspa. You can see it looks very different from a blockchain. Yes, it's moving left to right and it has blocks in it. However, instead of having orphaned blocks, a BlockDAG allows for the creation of vertical blocks to connect with other blocks in the series, allowing for the BlockDAG to continue forward. You can see here that sometimes it's running at 1 block a second, sometimes it gets all the way up to 5 blocks a second. This is already light years faster than Bitcoin, as Bitcoin itself is making a new block roughly every 15 minutes. We can see here live the creation of new blocks for Bitcoin, and we should note that yes, right here there was only 6 minutes between blocks, but before that we had to wait 21 minutes for a new block to be created in the Bitcoin blockchain. This is completely different to Kaspa's BlockDAG, and again, like I've said, they've already made this BlockDAG a lot faster, pushing 5 blocks a second if it needs to, and on the Kaspa testnet, the BlockDAG is running smoothly at 10 blocks a second. To be fair, Bitcoin blocks hold many more transactions than a block on the Kaspa BlockDAG. A block on the Bitcoin blockchain handles roughly 3,500 transactions every block, and Kaspa is limited to only 300 to 400 transactions per block. Now, that is a 10x difference from Bitcoin. However, you need to note, because it's running at 1 block a second, it will match the total amount of transactions that Bitcoin can do in 15 minutes in the span of about 10 seconds. If we do the math, assuming these blocks are running at 300 transactions per block, and Kaspa is looking like it's soon going to be implementing 10 blocks a second, that means we are seeing speeds of roughly 3,000 transactions per second. Yes, I admit it's a bit lower right now. However, I truly believe we will be pushing 3,000 transactions per second pretty soon. And if we compare that to something like Solana, we can see that Kaspa could be as fast as Solana. Now, this is before the full rollout of Dagnite and Rust. And again, Jonathan Supolinsky is targeting 100 blocks a second. In theory, the Dagnite protocol will allow for 100 blocks a second. However, we will only see with time if that can truly pan out. However, if Kaspa ever reaches that goal, we need to note that it will be 10x the speed of Solana. Solana is a project that prides itself in its transactions per second. It does not pride itself in its decentralization or even its security measures. It has gotten better security over the years. However, if Kaspa is competing with Solana on transactions per second, it's hard to say they're not the better cryptocurrency, because they're undeniably more decentralized and just as secure, if not more secure. In fact, if Kaspa is successful in reaching 100 blocks per second, they will be competing with much larger players like Visa. Visa is currently able to handle 65,000 transactions a second, and if Kaspa was to reach 100 blocks a second, it would be running at roughly 3,000 transactions per second. Yes, that's still smaller than Visa, but if you compare it to Bitcoin running 7 transactions per second, it's hard not to say that Kaspa is exponentially more scalable than Bitcoin. Even with the current technology implemented, Kaspa transactions are fully confirmed within 10 seconds. That is something that Bitcoin will probably never be able to boast. And circling back to the blockchain trilemma, I think it's safe to say that Kaspa might have solved the scalability issue. I think at this current state, you can debate that Kaspa has not quite yet solved this aspect. However, if their testnets keep being successful and they keep developing on the project, I think it's very hard to argue that Kaspa will not solve the scalability issue if it can reach 100 blocks a second. If in fact Kaspa does solve the blockchain trilemma, what's stopping it from being a top 3 cryptocurrency? I personally think it solved the trilemma better than something like Ethereum, and I personally see Kaspa being a top 2 cryptocurrency within the next 10 years. I'm not convinced this will happen this coming bull run. However, by 2029, Kaspa should have smart contracts, and if it's running at 100 blocks a second while being a proof of work cryptocurrency, I see it absolutely being the number 2 cryptocurrency, only behind Bitcoin. Now, of course, this is all my own opinions. None of this video was financial advice, and I'd love to hear your opinions down in the comments. Do you think Kaspa solves the blockchain trilemma? Let me know in the comments, and I really hope to see you in other videos around my channel. I hope you have an amazing day. Peace out.